welcome, and I'm delighted to have Alison Read, our digital marketing consultant, on today. And this is the first of two sessions that we're running this week and next week as well, where Alison's going to do a deep dive into digital marketing to help optimize the work that you're doing for your product brand, whatever your business is, in that arena. So yeah, I'm not going to say too much more other than what would be great is obviously make sure you're on mute because it's an open session. Alison's got lots of information to share, and she has also said that she will provide slides also for anyone who wants to look at them afterwards. And if you could just go on mute and pop any questions into the chat, there'll be times throughout that we can take any questions, and certainly there'll be plenty of time at the end. So I shall hand over to Alison.
Thank you, Joan. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you to Expo North for inviting me along. I'm Alison Read, and my business is Alison Read Digital Content. I'm a digital marketer, and I've had my own business for the last sort of 7 years or so. So I'm going to share my screen now and take you through finding your foundation. So just bear with me. Now, are you seeing a big slide saying find your foundation?
Yes, that's working.
Good. For those of you that only joined us at 1:30, you should have seen me about 10 minutes before that because I was having a little bit of upset with Zoom, but we've all been there, so calm down. Anyway, welcome again. So today's session is about finding your foundation. And I think what we're going to be looking at is about why and how you're doing your digital marketing, why you're doing this, and how you're going to show up online more consistently. So I'm going to give you an overview. I'll just pop back to that for a second. I'm going to give you an overview of the 7 main digital channels, and also signpost the ones that I think are going to be most relevant to small creative businesses such as we have on the call today. As Joan said, this is the first of 2 sessions. Next week, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into the main sort of social media channels. This session today is really about sort of an overview, as I say, of digital marketing as a whole and how that will fit into your marketing strategy. So finding your foundation, what do we actually mean? It means about understanding why you're doing what you're doing and how you're going to go about doing it. It's another way of saying your marketing strategy, really. And when you find your foundation, you can find a way to connect more authentically with your ideal client, to connect with your audience. Your marketing becomes more effective. You feel much more in control of your marketing, which means that you in turn can spend more time doing what you love and serving those that need to hear from you. So before we get into it, I'm going to start by introducing you to Callum and Anna and baby Grace. Now, Callum and Anna are new parents, and they have the most beautiful baby in the world, and they want to capture that sweet innocence in an image that will stir hearts. And what they've got in mind is something like this. Okay, so Anna's been on Pinterest and she's got this idea of what she wants it to look like. Callum's got a decent camera, so he's going to give it a go. And what they end up with is something that looks a little bit more like this. I think maybe we've all been there. But so the problem is they have a problem. They just don't have the skills to do what they need to get what they need. They're going to need to get a professional photographer. Ideally one specializing in newborns, in their price bracket, someone who really gets them. So how are they going to find that perfect fit? How are they going to solve their problem? And more importantly for us as business owners, if we are that perfect photographer, how are we going to find our Anna and Callum? How do we get in front of them? Through your marketing and through your communications and connecting with your audience. So the thing to really think about when you start your marketing is this idea that your business, whatever it is, whether you're a jewelry designer or a dog walker or a photographer, your business provides a solution. Okay, it's whatever you do or you sell, it somehow solves someone's problem, or it meets a need, or it just makes them feel good. So in some way, you are improving people's lives, which is pretty incredible when you think about it. So you just need to make sure that the right people know that. And this is why we're going to spend a little bit of time thinking about our foundation and getting our marketing strategy sorted. So what do we mean by our foundation? I like to think of it when I'm working with clients, we look at the first 4 things that we look at is your brand, your market, your audience, and your offer. And I'm going to take you through that, each of those in steps by step. So first of all, let's think about what we mean when we say about brand. Now, most people, when you say brand, they think about your logo, but your brand is so much more than just your logo, so much more than just your visual identity. Your brand really is your reputation. It's what people say about you. It's how people remember you. Essentially, it's how you make them feel. And I really like this photo because, you know, the brand that this woman is exhibiting here is obviously very colourful, but it's also, there's so much more to it. You're not even seeing her logo, but you can tell that you know, she's got the live local, love local, shop local. There's a lot of things going on there that express so much more than just about your logo. For example, one of the first things we need to do is think about your purpose. Why are you doing this? What is it that gets you out of bed every morning? What is driving? Why did you start your business? Why did you start this vocation? What is it that you are bringing to the world, and why? Now, if you've not seen it already, and it is fairly, it's kind of a core piece of text, but if you've not seen it already, I'd encourage you to go to YouTube and search up Simon Sinek. Here is a video, in fact, there's a whole book called Start With Why. And that is really worth following up on that, just to understand what it is that's driving you. And it's not about what you offer, it's not about what you do, it's about why you do it. And when you connect with why, that's going to help you show up more authentically in your business. We're also going to think in your brand, you need to think about your promises. What do you promise to people? What is it that is integral to your business and to your values as well, that are very much a part of what you offer? So I've got a couple of examples here at the bottom, and I'm going to ask Joan in a second just to talk a little bit about her company, about Avarinis. But Innocent, for example, is a classic example of a fantastic brand. They make the little fruit juice drinks, but they show up online, and it's not just about fruit juice drinks, it's about making the world. I think that the tagline is something like, we might make little drinks, but we have big dreams to make the world a better, healthier place to live. And they do that with humor, they do that with connection. If you're not following them online to find out more about brand, that's a really good one to follow. Their values are very open and friendly and fun. If we look at, say, Brewdog, for example, they are, when they started up about 10 years ago, they really were disrupting the whole the whole beer market. At the time, craft beer was quite sort of niche. It was, you know, old boys with big beards sitting around in real ale pubs and things. And Brewdog really wanted to change that. And one of the ways they do that is through language and through the story. So the language that you use is very much a part of your brand as well. Brewdog's language talks all very much about, it's almost quite aggressive. And obviously I realized that they had a bit of a blip over the last few years, but the brand still exists as a strong brand. So they talk about, for example, punks. You know, Brewdog their share scheme was called Punk Equity for Punks. So it kind of appealed to this sort of slightly edgy kind of peer person, and it really did change the way that craft beer was brewed within the market, and opened up the gates to a lot more craft beer breweries. The third example that I have here as well is Avarinis, which is Joan Johnson's brand, if you're not aware. And Joan has created an incredibly strong brand over the last few years. And Joan, if I could perhaps ask you to step in and say a few words at this point, because I'm just pulling up some of the visuals, but this is a brand that I really admire as well, because everything about it, whenever you see Joan's brand online, every touch point is consistent. So Joan, are you there? Are you able to speak to a few words about Averinus?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, happy to. So yeah, I'm based in Elgin, and this is my business that I built. I launched 3.5 years ago, and the workshop that I know Alison's going through is very much about identifying who you are, what you're offering, what solution is. So even as right now is about helping people to sleep better through a natural UK-made bedding. So the visuals that Alison's picked up here, and this isn't prepared by the way, are very much everything that we do has to stick with our core values. So it's about nature, it's about natural, it's about sleep, it's about people. And so whenever we're making decisions about what visuals or messaging that we put out there, it all has to tie in with that vision that we have for the brand and that consistency. So, and actually a lot of the imagery is taken locally because it's very much influenced by the beauty of Moray, of where we live. And we spend a lot of time on the coast, and that helps with, exercise. We talk about getting exercise to lead to good sleep. So it's not always talking about the product, it's talking about the lifestyle around the product. And that's what a lot of our customers, I think, tend to connect with. I think that's it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Jane. So yes, so just to go back to the point about brand, the purpose comes through really strongly there. And Joan's brand talks a lot about sustainability, about improving your sleep, and about that connection with nature. There's also promises in there around sustainability and the connection again with nature again. The values are really strong, and there are some great stories. So again, if you haven't seen Averinus, then please do give them a follow, because they're a great example of a local Scottish brand that's doing really well, I believe. Having talked about brand, the second point that I want to cover is your market. Okay, so that's really thinking about, we start by thinking about your competitors. And I don't just mean in your immediate area, but also nationally and beyond. Perhaps you're operating in a global market, but think about your competitors and have a good look at them. Think about a SWOT analysis, which is your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So there's no need to really kind of reinvent the wheel with this either, and we can all learn from what our competitors are doing, if indeed you do see them as competitors. I mean, personally, the space in which I operate, I feel that what I'm offering is really quite unique, because I've looked at my competitors locally, and actually I understand very clearly where I fit into the market. So I don't offer social media management. I'm not going to do the social media for you. Instead, I will give you the tools and the knowledge and the confidence to be able to operate your own social media. And I'm quite comfortable that I'm the only person in my area who is operating in that way. So I'm quite happy to reach out to my competitors and instead collaborate with them and find a way to work together. So if there's somebody that comes to me that's not right for me, for my brand, then I will happily pass them on to somebody who I feel works more better, would work better with what they're trying to achieve. So certainly look around for other people in your space, understand what they are, what they're all about, have a look at their brand and how they're operating, and see, think about how you are unique and what is your position in the market. Again, Joan's position with Averinus is quite unique because of the sustainability aspect. She's working very hard on positioning within the sort of menopause as well, and how that plays into the brands, and how the products help with sleeplessness during the menopause. So again, look at your competitors and figure out how you're unique. Look at your current marketing that you're doing. So if I was to work with you as a client, I'd be looking at your current marketing, and we'd do an audit on what's working for you at the moment. We'd look at your analytics to understand where your strengths are and which ones could be improved. So for any kind of the power of digital really is about, a lot of it is about all of the information and the data we can get. So it's putting stuff out there is one thing, but actually understanding what's working for you and what you need to improve on is all a part of this iterative process about improving your digital marketing. So with your website, for example, you could put a website up there and just walk away in the same way that you would put up a billboard or put out some flyers. But the power of the website is that you can use tools such as Google Analytics to really understand what's going on, to find out how people are getting to your website, to find out what their behavior is once they're on your website, and to, if you find that people are coming to your homepage and then going to your shopping cart and then abandoning things, why is that? What's happening on that journey? Why are they walking away at that point? Having that understanding is really what's part of the power of the digital marketing experience. And again, when we go back to competitors, have a look at their marketing, see what's working for them. Again, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can look at what people are doing out there and learn from them. Learn from the big players in your market as well, the people who have the huge marketing budgets. What's working for them? What are people responding to? And you don't have to carbon copy it, but if you have an understanding of what your foundation is, of what your brand is all about, then you can adjust that and put in place, create your own marketing strategy that's going to be unique to you and is going to work for you. Of course, at the end of all this, we've got our customers or our clients, our audience, and you're not going to be right for everyone, and that's okay. One of the biggest mistakes I think that people try to make is that they try to make their appeal too broad. So who can buy from you? Well, anyone can buy my products. Absolutely, I'm sure anybody could buy your products. Anybody could, buy your books or buy your jewelry, but who exactly is it that you want to talk to? So my husband's got a craft brewery, Winsett Brewing in Lossiemouth, and their brand targets young to midlife sort of affluent adventurers, and the tagline is "Best when you've earned it." The visuals are all about the outdoor lifestyle, and they sponsor windsurfing festivals and the Strathpuffer endurance mountain bike race, and host gravel biking and running events and all that kind of thing. And that's because they've thought very carefully about who their audience is. Who exactly are they talking to? Where are they? Are you just talking to a local audience, or are you talking to people further afield? And critically, what is it that they want or they need? As I said before, your business provides a solution. So you're solving someone's problem. They may not see it as a problem, but they have, whatever you do is going to improve their life. So what is it that you can do for them that is going to help them, is going to improve their life? And how are you going to do that? How are you going to help them? What do they need to hear from you in order to want to work with you? So if, for example, they are someone who's very concerned about well, I've got an example on the next slide, so I'll talk on. And then finally, how will you reach them? So again, when I work with clients, there's lots of different worksheets and tools and things that I use with my clients. The first one is this, and it's a very simple, just a 4-column chart, and it talks about your audience, your needs, and their needs and concerns, what message you need to give in order to reach them, and how you're going to find them. Okay, so it may not be immediate. You may have your immediate audience. So let me give you an example on the next one. If we go back to the example of the photographer from the very, very beginning. This is a fictional photographer. They are a baby and child photographer, and they're called Storks. The QR code at the top will allow you to download a version of this if you'd like to do this on your own business. So their immediate audience, of course, is going to be their clients who is going to be new parents. So what kind of thing are new parents going to be thinking about? Well, they're going to be concerned because obviously timing is crucial. They want their baby at 6 weeks or 6 days or however old they want those pictures to be. So they don't want to be booking, and hope that some point over the next month you might get a slot. They need to know that if they book in advance, they will book in advance, they'll get relaxed sessions, and there's not going to be a rush. So if baby's playing up, you'll be fine. So the kind of messaging you want to be putting out on your website and in your social media and things like that is that, it's fine, don't worry, just tell us when you'll need us to come, and we'll book in advance, and we're not in any rush, we're working at your pace. They might be worried about, it's not easy getting out of the house. How am I going to get baby ready? How am I going to get them to a studio? And you can say, look, don't worry, we come to you. If baby's happier at home, we can come to you. And of course, they want the pictures to be, Insta-worthy. They want fabulous pictures. So keeping an up-to-date portfolio with a consistent style is going to convince people on about that. And how are you going to reach these new parents? What media are they on? Well, again, you're just going to list the kind of ways, the different ways that you could reach those parents. So Instagram, probably. You find a lot of new parents in Facebook groups. So I'm going to come back to Facebook later on in the presentation, because whatever people say about Facebook, it is still a big platform. And one of the key things that it can offer people is the ability to participate in groups. So if you are if you're after sort of new parents, or if you're in a niche activity like crafting or something like that, being a part of those groups can really help you from a business perspective, not in a sleazy selling your business way, but just getting people to kind of know, like, and trust what you're offering. But again, I'll come back to that later. The other thing, of course, with photography in this example is people are just going to Google newborn photographers. So you need to make sure that your website is up to date. And also, if people recommend you, what will happen is they'll tend to then go and look at your website or look at your social media and check that it's working. And of course, flyers. I'm talking about digital marketing today, but handing out flyers at events, at baby shows, at baby groups and things like that. In this case, flyers is going to be another way. There's another audience in this case, which is nurseries and schools. They've got different needs and concerns. So they might be worried about the safety of the kids. So you need to reassure them that you're PVG registered. They might be concerned about the whole process of ordering your prints and photos and the process of actually managing multiple kids. So again, the messaging that you're going to put out in this case was really going to be speaking to the kind of concerns that they have. And where are they going to be? Well, flyers, letters, nurseries and schools are probably just, pop a letter into the office, pop a flyer into the office. Make sure your website has a specific page on it for nurseries and schools, and through parents as well. Then there's a kind of a secondary audience that, depending on which niche you're in, depending on the industry, you've also got to be aware of other people who may be looking at your website. So, for example, local and national awards. If you were to go for an award, or if you were to go for funding or something like that, then, what are the needs or concerns? What is it that those kind of people are going to need to know about you? Are you addressing that in your social media and on your website? So if you're going for awards, for example, if you go put in for an award, you can put in a fantastic application, but if your online presence doesn't support that, and your photos are out of date, or they're all a bit blurry, or your website doesn't work on mobile, they're going to be checking up on you. So that's the kind of thing where they want to be sure that you're the best in the industry. So do you have that consistency in style and brand? Are you sharing customer testimonials? They need to know this person is going to promote their organization. That's the kind of thing that awards panels are interested in as well. So again, a strong social media presence is going to be important there. Has anybody got any questions at this point? Has anybody got anything that they want to ask? Happy to continue?
Yeah, I think so. There's nothing in the chat box either. So
okay. Good. I'm talking to myself here, so I'm just checking everybody's still there. So this is a very broad way of actually tackling this, and it's putting people into groups, understanding your audience. Now, the next step on that is to actually, this is going to help with your whole marketing strategy. Once you get into your social media strategy and you start to think about, or you start to look at these particular, how you're going to tackle, how you're going to speak and connect with individuals on this, then we can get down to creating pen portraits, personality profiles of each of our ideal clients. Now, we've all got some ideal clients. So they're the kind of people who love what you do. They tell all your friends. They buy your services without worrying about how much it is, because they love, they really value what you do. So you may already have those kind of people in your life, in which case that's fantastic. If you don't, then have a think about the kind of people that you would like to attract. And then the next kind of thing to understanding your audience is, this is an exercise about client avatars. This is understanding, again, this is a sheet that I can share with you later as well. Sorry, I thought there was a QR code on this one too, but I will pass it on. So this is talking about who this person is, what are their goals, what are their values, the influences. That's kind of like the media column. That's looking at, what social media they follow, what websites they follow, and really kind of getting to grips and understanding with that ideal client. Now, you may have, I've got 3 ideal clients, so you may have like 3 or 4. I wouldn't go for any more than 4 or 5, because that does start to get quite complicated. Let's have a look at this. So if we go back to Anna, who is a new parent from the beginning. So what are Anna's goals? So she wants to be a great parent. The whole hashtag making memories is going to be important to her. She also wants to share pictures of baby with her friends and family. She wants that kind of external validation as well, and the values of family and friends and things. Where are you going to find Anna? Probably find her on Instagram. You probably find her, she's going to be on Pinterest as well. Websites, things like Mumsnet, that kind of thing. Where does she shop? She might be shopping at River Island H&M before she had the baby. And then really look at what other influences she's got. So, notice boards, community notice boards. Maybe she watches a particular TV show. Maybe she is on, goes to different baby groups. So at this point, all we're doing is kind of creating a pen portrait, a profile of Anna and the kind of person that she is. She's 28, she's female, she lives in Elgin, she's a hairdresser on maternity leave. She's got a big social circle. So, she likes to kind of keep up with her friends. So her challenge is up here on the top right. She wants to keep up with her friends, and she likes things to be perfect. She likes things to look good. The problem that she's got is that the reality is not matching the vision, as we saw with Callum's attempt at that baby photo earlier. She is a bit worried about money while she's on maternity leave, and maybe motherhood's a bit tough and it's getting her down. So these are the things you kind of need to think about when you're talking on your social media. If you can think about Anna or your version of Anna, then that's going to help you really connect with that person. And I know there is some people, when I talk about this, they say, oh yeah, but what about George, who's 67, who wants me to take a photo of him? That's fine. You're not going to turn off George, but those people will still come. That if you can connect with your ideal clients and talk to your ideal clients in a language that they kind of get, again, we're going back to this finding your foundation. You are going to connect more authentically. What are her objections to the sale? So, Cam's got a decent camera. It can't be that hard. So how could you address that kind of thing in your marketing and in your messaging? Perhaps you want to talk about, you want to give, a behind the scenes sort of thing to explain, to show the equipment that you've got. You might want to show you out on a shoot. Everything that's involved in getting prepared for a shoot and the kind of things that you need to consider, because she wants value for money. So value for money is kind of subjective, isn't it? That doesn't necessarily that she wants the cheapest possible option. It just means that she needs to be assured that whatever she's spending on you, you're going to deliver the goods. So you can, so you can do that through customer testimonials, you can do it through the kind of images that you share. And what's the role in a purchase process? Well, in this case, Anna is probably the decision maker in that situation. There are other, if you were working with a larger company, for example, you might actually be talking to somebody who wasn't the decision maker, but somebody who would influence that person. So if you wanted to break into Murray Council, for example, into or the Highland Council, one of those kind of people, the kind of messaging you're putting out there, you may not actually be talking to the people holding the purse strings, but you could be talking to people in different parts of the organization who can influence those decisions. So having an understanding of who it is that you're talking to, who those clients are, is going to help you with your messaging. And then the fourth part, we've talked about brand, we've talked about market, we've talked about audience, and then the fourth part is your offer. The one question at the front of everybody's mind is, what's in it for me? I say it's at the front of their mind. They may not actually realize, but what's in it for me? The classic mistake that you will see on your average website is on the traditional website would be, Joe Bloggs Plumbers started up plumbing. We've been plumbing since 1974 when George Bloggs opened his garage and found a tap or something. Nobody cares. Like, really, they're not that interested. What they need to know is, what's in it for me? Why should I care whether Joe Bloggs has been plumbing for all these years? What I need to know is, he's going to be with me within an hour. That it's going to cost me the call out fee is whatever it's going to be. The second thing is, okay, so why should I choose you? What is it about you? Do I understand what you're about? And again, this comes back to the brand. Everything that you put out on your social media, on your online presence, reinforces this brand, and really kind of, if you can do that consistently, that's really going to help people understand and relate to you as a person, if you're the face of your organization, or as a business, whatever your values are that you're portraying. And that's more than telling the story about when you started the company and etc. So at this point, there's a little video I want to show you. It's a YouTube video. I hope it's worked. If it doesn't, again, I'll add the link into the chat. But I think one of the things I always talk about with clients is, if you were to walk into a shop and the assistant thrust a product at you and says, buy this, it's on sale, you'd probably sidle back to the door and you wouldn't choose to engage. You'd walk away, unless it was, I don't know, buying a loaf of bread or something that you're not actually that engaged with. But if you were thinking about making a purchase and the first thing they do is say, buy this, you're going to turn heels and go. Instead, what they do is they say, oh, lovely day, have you come far? And then they say, how can I help you? So that's what we're doing on social media. We're becoming social, and we are engaging with people. It's not just about the products, it's about what the products will do for you. Think about that at the forefront of all of your messaging and things is what's in it for the customer. You have to couch things in terms of what's in it for them. So this little video I'm going to show you now is talking about the difference between features and benefits. So I'll let the video speak, but this is a really important video that will help you reframe your offer. Whoop. Okay. So we've talked about brand, we've talked about your market, your audience, and your offer. Putting that all together is going to help you. That's your foundation. That is essentially the foundation for your marketing strategy. So what are we going to do next? How do we use that? How are we going to apply this foundation, to create a strategy that is firstly realistic, because we've all got only so many hours in the day and only so many, so much money available to us, but also effective, that it is actually going to connect with people. The first thing I want to say is that social media is really only one part of your digital marketing. So probably the biggest question that I get asked is, well, it used to be, should I be on Instagram? It's now, should I be on TikTok? And my answer is, I have no idea, because I don't understand your audience. Who are you talking to and what is that about? So it's because social media really is only one part of your digital marketing strategy, and your digital marketing strategy is just one part of your marketing strategy. Whatever this is a model that I've developed that looks at the 7 main channels that we're looking at for digital marketing. And I'll take you through each of these ones just very briefly, but at the heart of all of these is your website. Whatever your goal, whether it's increased footfall, increased clicks to the online shop, greater awareness, strategy advice will always center around having a good website. It really should be at the heart of your marketing. So if you take one thing away from this session, it's sort out your website. It's a big job. Everyone always says they'll do it, but then life gets in the way. But all of these other channels should be pointing people to your website, because that is your shop window. It's the only piece of real estate on the whole of the online world that you own, that you have exclusive access to update and change and present as you would like to be seen. So a couple of things to check on your website. Firstly, is it immediately obvious what you offer? Is it easy for a reader to find what they need? Is it concise? Because people don't read web content, they scan. Is it useful? Is it actually doing what you need it to do? Is it selling what you're offering? And is it on brand? Go back to your foundation. You need strong copy in your authentic voice. And does it have clear images? And of course, keep it up to date and keep it mobile friendly. Now, the best resource on the web by far for this is, there's a QR code there. If you want to zap that, that'll take you straight to it. If you just Google 5-minute marketing makeover by a chap called Donald Miller, and he has a book about this as well. He covers all of this in really good detail. So again, if we have a quick look at Joan's website, straight away we're seeing, is it clear what she does? Yes, sleep better, sleep natural. I'm going to sleep better. She's telling me here 93% of our duvet customers are sleeping better. And then there is clear signposting to take us to the next step. And the values are all coming through nice there. You're getting top marks for all of this, Joan. Well done. So going back to our 7-stage model. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but the one I would want to start with is organic search. So organic search, or SEO, if you've heard of that, search engine optimization, that is really about getting found on Google, getting found by the people that are looking for you. And of course, other search engines are available, but to decide how much effort you want to put into your SEO is you really need to go back to your foundation and think about who you're talking to and how are they finding you. So if you're a photographer, you are going to need a great website, and you're going to have good SEO, because people Google newborn photographer. But if you're something like a life coach, your audience is more likely to find you through social media or through personal recommendations. So you probably need just a presence, but quite a simple one with some testimonials and contact details. But so go back to your foundation and think about your audience. I'll just skip over that. The next one here is paid search. I'm not going to talk too much about that. That is paying to get you further up the rankings. Some markets can be really competitive. These can be very effective, but it can be quite expensive and needs quite a lot of iteration to get right. So for most of the people in this call, I would say, focus on your SEO to get started before getting into paying for Google Ads. It can give you a boost if you're just starting out, but again, think about your audience, look at your analytics and try and understand, where your traffic is coming from. Oops. The next one, display ads, that's really great for brand awareness. That is if you have, things like Sky Sports or the newspapers and things. If you go to their website, there's always lots of ads around the outside, or if you put something in your shopping cart, it will follow you around. Those are display ads, probably a bit advanced to what most of us are doing on here. And also as part of a brand awareness campaign or part of a larger marketing strategy, you can get your brand awareness through your display ads, but I wouldn't worry too much about it for now. Email marketing, however, is actually underrated. And I know this is controversial because every time I say this to people, they say, but I don't read emails, I just delete them. And that may or may not be true, but it's certainly not true for everyone. And sure, the emails that you get from the major retailers just telling you all their offers are mostly junk, but there are some great ones out there. It is a really good way to engage with a warm audience, because if anyone has given you their email address, they are giving you permission to contact them. So even if you're not convinced, start building an email list. Keep those emails together. If anybody that has, that you've sold something to, anybody that has expressed an interest, if you meet people at networking, just ask them for their email list, their email address, and start to get that list together. If you need persuading, there are a couple, these three down here are 3 examples of emails that I get and I do read. In fact, this I don't even know how you say it, Hute, is a Welsh jeans company. And he actually wrote a book, the guy that started it, called Do Open, which is all about email marketing. And that's a really, really good read if you're into that. So yes, don't dismiss it. It is an effective way, even if it's just once a month, just popping into their email box and just, even if they do delete you, then they've still seen that you've popped up and they're still, reminded that you're ongoing. They can always unsubscribe. If you use something like MailChimp, that's a free email service and it's all GDPR compliant and everything, so you'll be fine. Mobile is the next one on here, which is talking about things like apps and SMS messaging and other sort of NFC technologies. But again, I'm not going to go into that in this session because it's probably too much to cover. And of course, that brings me to the one that everybody always wants to talk about, and that's social media. When I'm talking about social media, I'm talking about organic, which is stuff that you that generates interest on its own, and paid marketing, which is stuff where you boost or you use ads. So again, go back to when you're trying to decide which platform, and there are dozens of platforms. There's the sort of the half a dozen ones that we talk about all the time, like Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, etc. But there are many, many, many more. And depending on which niche you are, there are plenty of others that you could be involved in. Deciding which platform to be on is probably the biggest question I get asked again. And again, my answer would be firstly, where do your customers hang out? And secondly, where do you like to hang out? So if your brand is quite edgy and humorous, then TikTok might be a good one for you, but maybe your audience isn't ready for TikTok yet. For myself, I know that I could get a lot more work if I put more effort into LinkedIn. I don't particularly like LinkedIn, so I quite like Facebook still. So I tend to, I've got my audience tend to reach me through Facebook. But having said that, I do have a presence on LinkedIn, and I do pop on there from time to time and put up a post just to show that I have that I'm active. So what I would say is choose your main platform, choose one that you want to work on, and do it really well. Keep an active presence on Facebook. And again, I know not everybody loves Facebook, but it's still the generic one, and it does have advantages, things like groups, that you can join on groups. And of course, it integrates with Instagram. So if you chose Instagram as your main profile, you can just cross post to Facebook. Just should double check the posts when you go onto Facebook that they do still work. So if you're tagging somebody on Instagram, they may have a different tag on Facebook, for example. Everywhere else, reserve your username. So even if you think you will never use TikTok, get on there now and just save that username, because you never know. And you never know what's coming down the line. Even if you think you're never going to use Twitter, it's not your thing at all. Again, reserve your username, but point the people to your preferred platform and website on there. So just maybe put up a post or put up a tweet, or in your bio, whatever, say, this is me, this is what I do, this is who I work with and how I help them. Find out more about me on Instagram or on Facebook, and or on my website. Okay, and then point people to there. The things to remember about social media is that it is social. So 80% of your content does need to be social. You need to be inspiring, informing, connecting, entertaining people, and only then promoting. One of the mantras we talk about in social media quite a lot is know, like, and trust. Do people even know about you? And if they do know about you, do they like you? And do they trust you? Would they actually buy something from you or recommend you to their friends? The other point on social media as well is engagement is key, particularly for Instagram, and keeping consistent across all your different channels. That takes you back to your foundation. Think about your values, think about your visuals, think about your language, and ensure that every touch point in your online presence is consistent, particularly across your social media. I'm just conscious of the time, Jane. I was going to go and jump into each of the main social media platforms, but next week I'm going to go into those into more depth. So I'm going to flick through those unless anybody has any specific questions at this point.
Would anyone like to ask any questions specifically? No? Okay. Carry on.
The three that I was going to talk about, again, I can come back to you next week. I will come back to you next week, were Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. A lot of people pass over on Pinterest, but that is actually quite a key one, particularly for small businesses. So to round up what we've been talking about, this is about finding your foundation. It's about understanding your why. So going away from this, I want you to think about your brand, not just your logo, but also how you want people to feel about you, your audience, your market, and your offer. Once you understand your why, then you're in a better position to start thinking about your how. So concrete things you can do as a result of this is to sort out your website, take a good critical look at your website, Google that 5-minute marketing makeover by Donald Miller and watch his videos. You'll have to opt into his mailing list, but they're actually quite interesting. So don't worry about that. He's not going to spam you. Start a mailing list if you don't have one already, and think about getting onto an email platform such as MailChimp. Decide on your key social channels. Think about where you want to show up and where your clients and customers are, and make sure you reserve a username on all your platforms. Next week, I'm going to be talking, I'm going to dive deeper into each of the social media channels, into those three, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. If anybody has any specific topics that they'd like me to address, I would be happy to do that. You can drop Joan or Gemma a line, and I'll make sure I can answer any questions that you have specifically. An hour is not very long to talk, so I kind of run out of time to go into the depths that I wanted to on those this week. But again, I'd be happy to take any questions now in the last few minutes if anybody would like to follow up on anything that I've raised at this point. Otherwise, I will hand you back to Joan and Gemma. Stop sharing.
Thank you, Alison. Really great. You know, no matter how long you've been doing digital marketing, and it's great to have a refresher and a reminder of the sort of key, the foundation. I particularly love the reference to, you know, inspire, inform, connect, and the trust aspect too, because ultimately with all of us, whatever product area we're in or service we're offering, there's a lot of competition out there. So it is, you know, how do you make yourself stand out from your competitors, and how, as you say, do you get in contact directly with a customer that you believe would be interested in what you do? So that's been really useful. Has anyone got any specific questions that you would like to ask? Have you found this useful? Excellent, lots of nodding heads. Well, certainly, you know, Expo North Digital are looking for ways to help support the community in the Highlands and Islands region. So certainly, you know, if anybody wants to feedback on this, would welcome the feedback. And also, if there are other areas that you would like support on that has a sort of digital push for your business or for what you're planning to do, then do get in touch with us, because we're really keen to engage more with obviously the creative community here to help support them in a digital format. Reading some comments. Certainly thank you, Alison, for what you've been doing from everyone. And I think that is probably it for now.